Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Broker Builder Show with your host, John Jerkovich.
So what I have felt is that a lot of the people that we work with have found that they are pretty good at driving business and getting some likes on their stuff, but they have no way to turn likes into actual leads and clients that close loans. But what I found, if you can partner up with somebody that's got like a really cool app, like what they've got over at FinLocker or what we've got with Buy a Home U, or there's some different tools, you can actually go ahead and kickstart your program there. So feel, felt, found. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit today, and hopefully helping you turn leads, likes into leads and into loans. How's that, Josh?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So, what we want to do today really is kind of give you guys an overarching view of the journey that we've been taking as we've been building Mortgage Broker Builder over the past 12 months and some of the really cool tools that we've created. We've had this vision when we first started out of creating what we call the Mortgage Broker Toolbox. And inside of that toolbox is just a bunch of different like playbooks and really cool things. So where I think we're going to start out is, as John said, I'm going to be kind of interviewing him as to why and what we've built so far, and then what we're going to be talking about today, because a big or a core part of the majority of our conversations have been around lead magnets and creating things that that will not just require a transaction or not just require somebody to go through an application in order to become a lead for you, but something of value that you can give to your audience. And so that's kind of the glue that we're going to finish with as we're launching a couple different kind of done for you lead magnets that you can use to attract buyers and sellers and attract leads in almost any market. So that's kind of the overarching framework of what I believe we're going to be looking at today. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that, of the last 12 months, kind of my journey has been, right, I'd always worked at these large companies where you had marketing teams and you could point the finger and blame it on other people as to your lack of success maybe fell on someone else. Well, what I've really realized is that everybody, right, we're all in marketing. You're all in sales every single day. And that a lot of people just don't understand. They miss that whole chunk of it. So we want to help them do that. And your whole entire life, you've been exposed to sales magnets. You just didn't know it. The big banner out there at college for the 10-cent drafts, that was a sales magnet to suck you into the bar, right? You didn't know that you were getting hit up with a sales magnet, but sure enough, there's a sales magnet and it worked well for me, right? I bought that sales magnet all the time. And so we want to kind of help you translate that into your day-to-day here. And we've learned a lot over the last almost 12 months now since we started this little journey.
Yeah, we built a lot of really cool stuff. And so we have about 5 tools that we've built so far that we kind of want to look at. The first one is riches in the niches, and then we have the likes to leads playbook that we've created for you. And then we have the local authority builder or local authority LO. And I know that we have one for video marketing that's coming out at some point soon. So that one's really cool. But the majority of these tools up until now, we're all teaching you how to attract buyers. So maybe we can go through each one of them and just talk a little bit about what it is and where they can get it if they want it. So the core foundation, or at least the foundational element or the foundational tool, is the one that you created that we've talked a lot about, called Riches in the Niches. You want to just give us a quick overview of what Riches in the Niches is, the results, benefits, et cetera, or what that would do for a loan officer?
Yeah, so what the riches and the niches are, a lot of times, and I kind of can take it back a little bit, we go out and we try and market, we try to do social media, we try to do different things to ultimately drive business there. And there's a disconnect, and I've noticed that the lending world and just mortgage bankers and people as a whole have gotten pretty good at social media, of going ahead and getting some likes out there on their social media. And where the disconnect happens is I can get all the likes I want. If it doesn't turn into leads, I'm kind of just out there spinning my wheels. And a lot of people will say, social media doesn't work for me. So what the niches and the riches is, and I kind of just have a philosophy about social media. I'll just tell it to you here quickly, but there's really 6 L's that you go through in social media, or if you begin doing it. And the 6 L's are this. First, you have to be okay with your first L. You have to be okay feeling like a loser. Because when you begin posting and you start doing stuff, there's not a lot of people watching. People don't care. You don't get engagement. You're just out there doing it. So that's the first L. And a lot of people stop after that, or they never even make the hurdle past there. And I'll tie this back into what the niches and the riches is and how it helps you. But next, you've got the next 3 L's are this. Hopefully you do the social media, you start getting some likes, and you'll get likes the more learning you have and laughs. So if it can be somewhat entertaining and you're teaching something to somebody of value, those are your next 3 likes. So if you get those out of the way, you'll start to be able to convert leads. If you have a lead magnet and a way to turn it into that, you now have leads. With a lead is just a name, phone number, and an email. And beyond that, so beyond that piece, you then can turn a lead into a loan. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. And our industry is pretty good at, if somebody goes in and they like your social media post and you want to drive them right to your apply now link, we're pretty good at converting that lead. But if it's somebody that's kicking tires and maybe, they're not looking to buy, or maybe they're a kid graduating from college that would like to own a house in the next 2 years. Like, we're terrible at that. So, and then we're also terrible at telling real estate agents what we want to do or how we can go ahead and get that engagement. So what we developed in the Niches and the Riches program is we're not telling you what to do. We're actually giving you the steps of actually how to do it. And what it is, it's a program designed for a mortgage broker, banker to be able to go and effectively reach out to a real estate agent with something above and beyond, I close loans in 7 days. We're a broker. We offer a lot of programs. I have the best pricing, right? All of that, just table stakes that everybody has. And quite frankly, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares that you close a loan in 7 days. They don't care. They care about the other things. How are you going to help them do business? So Niches and the Riches is a program that walks you from, what do I say to an agent? How do I make those phone calls? How do I leverage the niche programs that I have to get engagement with real estate agents, potential partners, and actually turn that into leads on the back end and create and build relationships. So that was a long story, but that's how the Niches and the Riches came to be. And if executed on, I'm seeing people have great success with this. It's just having a play that you run, you understand, and you can do.
Yeah, and it's really cool. So if you guys want to, any of these tools that we talk about here, you just go to the mortgagebrokerbuilder.com/toolbox, or just go to the homepage and click on toolbox on the menu bar, and you can see and get access to all of these tools and download them. And literally, it's a step-by-step guide that if you follow the guide and execute properly on it, you should be able to attract agents, attract buyers, and really just start building your business on a core of relationships. And that's kind of really what we're looking at, is making you what we call a loan officer of the future, which is different than the people that are calling to say I have the best rates, because we know that not everybody has the best rates. And if you say that, you're not actually telling the truth, because there's probably somebody that could always undercut you, and that's not really a differentiating factor, right? But one of the big things is, like, I remember back in the day when I was a loan officer, John, you would get on the phone with somebody, and if they're not ready to perform a transaction right now, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll call you back in 3 months, or I'll call you back in 6 months. And of course, at some point in that period of time, they may have worked with somebody else, or they went into my black hole of the leads that never converted, and it just went into a non-converted pile and nothing ever happened. The loan officer of the future is going to be required to do things differently, to take advantage of the tools and resources that we have available to us in marketing and technology and things like that, to really nurture clients into becoming their perfect customers, and then having a customer for life. I remember I went to an event, I think it was with Infusionsoft in like 2016 or 2017, and they were talking to real estate agents. And the guy on stage said something that I found to be really interesting. And he said, I can't remember exactly the statistic, but it was something along the lines of, the majority of people will work with a different real estate agent every time that they go buy or sell a house. And that's not always the case, but that's the case a lot of times, because we're not viewing this from a holistic point of view of lifetime value of a customer and lifetime value of nurturing a customer and building a brand and all of those things. And Riches and the Niches is really all about that, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, the riches and the niches is, how do I add value back to my community? How do I help those real estate agents do more business? I mean, everybody wants to transact. Everybody wants to know things, and there's just a lack of knowledge out there. So people don't know. So you've got to let them know and help them along the way. Right? There's a lot of ways to move forward. There's only one way of standing still. And the more information that you can get out to those agents, right, the more that you'll do. And what you don't want to be is the Walmart greeter, right? You just don't want, and too many people are, they spend their lives. We should just, when you get your NMLS and you should almost just get the blue vest and just stand there as a Walmart. I close loans in 7 days. I'm a partner of so-and-so. Like nobody cares. The Walmart greeter, right? You walk right by them. They're just, you don't even notice that they're there. So that's the niches and the riches. Great program, and something, if executed on, will help you go ahead and overcome that hurdle of what do I actually do to reach out to these people? And cold calling is not the answer. So kind of beyond that, like we've got that, and it just parlayed, right? All these people that I'm talking to that are thinking about becoming a broker and really just mortgage bankers in a whole, they have a problem out there. And the problem is that they don't understand this whole greater marketing piece of how do I actually take it from where my client sits today? How do I get them to be a client that will transact with me at some point? And things fall into a black hole. And I think that we're solving that with what we're looking at doing here with our FinToolbox.
Yeah, and so the overarching framework in a lot of these tools that we created is the foundation was the riches and the niches, which is all about adding value to your audience and adding value to your real estate agents and adding value long before somebody's ready to transact. We had a couple of podcasts that we did, one with a guy named Steve Leary of American Business Forms and Envelopes, and he taught us all how to use EDDM or a play called Every Door Direct Mail to get in front of buyers in your local market. We also created another tool called the Local Authority Builder. And most of these fall into the category that I would call attraction, right? So how do you attract clients? How do you get your message in front of people that could be interested or should be interested in performing a transaction at some point? And then within that problem, what we realized, and one of the things that I was training people on, is the idea that when you send an EDDM card or when you reach out to a real estate agent or when you do that, you have to be reaching out with something of value, right? Something more than, again, as John's saying, we have the best interest rates or we close loans in 7 days, because everybody closes loans in 7 days and everybody has the best interest rates or at least access to the pretty much the same rates, because the majority of people are sending their loans through one of two companies, unless it's an outlier or an outlying file. And so you don't really have a leg up on your competition. So the leg up that you would have is value, right? And that's where, so we've created a couple tools in the attraction, and we can explain those as well. But just to understand the framework, the final one that starts to bring it together is one we just launched this week called the Likes to Leads Playbook. Because what we wanted to do is we wanted to show you how to turn those likes that you're getting on social media into leads. And the best way, or the big way to do that, is with something that we call a lead magnet, which we'll cover later on this call. But maybe we can just go through some of what you've seen, John, as far as some of the plays that people could be doing in order to attract leads, so they understand first how somebody's going to get the lead magnets into their hands. So the Local Authority Builder, what exactly was that?
So Local Authority Builder is just, it's creating and branding yourself as a local authority. It's giving you a complete blueprint, every single step that you need to do to go out and interview local business owners, to talk about their business, to elevate their business, to hopefully become an amplifier for their business. And in turn, you're just adding value to your community. A lot of mortgage brokers, real estate agents, they operate in like a 50-mile radius. So if you can become the authority inside of your local community, if you're a mortgage broker and you make, let's say you make $4,000 alone, you can do 5 of those a month inside of a 50-mile radius. Like you're making 20 grand. I don't know if that's good, bad, indifferent for you, but for a lot of people, making $20,000 a month is like, it's a pretty good spot to be. And you can do that all inside of a little area. You don't have to go out and compete with the Rocket Mortgages of the world. You just have to compete in your area. So it gives you a complete blueprint. We've actually have done some videos, did some different things. I've got a video on YouTube that I did. I went in, this cold blue, went in, stopped in someplace, did a video with them, put it up on YouTube. And it's a short, there's hundreds of views of it in there, and people are seeing that business. Hopefully they're thankful. I don't know. I haven't followed up. I've done a bad job, but it's driving business and adding value back to them. And you, first and foremost, you have to add value back. Like the value can't be what's in it for me. It has to be what's in it for them. So that's just a great example of how do I add value to somebody else. And I can actually go back when I wrote loans full time. You know, you have to go back to like the early 2000s. I really had 2 lead magnets back then. And it was funny. I didn't have the mechanisms to deliver it through social media and those kind of things. I actually had a folder. And here were my 2 lead magnets. One was a thing called, and what was it? I'm blanking on the name. But it was a database. So we had a database. Everybody has one today. But I had a database, and I would go to agents and I would say, when you do these open houses and all these things, I know you need a database, but are you doing it? And it was a problem. A lot of agents weren't. A lot of people didn't have, laptops weren't a thing, even cell phones, right? Some people had Palm Pilots. And so, hey, give us the list of your names and your clients. We'll database them for you, be able to print mail coupons, right? Like an actual sticker that you could put and do mail. Like that was a big thing. So there was a problem. We provided a solution, and my lead magnet for those agents was we would handle your databasing. And another lead magnet that I had came in a folder. I had to drive around office to office or call them on the phone or page them. And we had these talking real estate signs. It sounds silly, but it's a sign. We had 800 number riders on the bottom with a number. When you'd call that and put in the number, you got this recording. Hey, welcome to 456 such and such street in, beautiful Royal Oak. This 3-bedroom bungalow features, 2 bathrooms, and the kitchen smells a little bit. And we'd record the thing for them, and people could press like 11 and get a fax. And the agents loved it. We added something of value, and the agents got something in return, and they became very loyal. And there's still agents that I talk to this day that I did that program with 20 years ago. So you've got to have a hook. So
I can just imagine you driving around with a folder, stopping in these offices as a young guy. As super
how
cool,
you did it, right? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't cold DMs, right? Now it was cold you showing up with your face. Like that's how you did it. And
the most important thing that I'm taking away from that is you had to go in there, whether you're speaking to an agent or whether you're speaking to a buyer or a prospect, and provide something of value, something tangible, something that they can use. And in that scenario, you'll end up getting the business on the back end of it, but it's not like you're just saying, hey, do you want to do a loan with me? Or, hey, can you send me a loan? Or, hey, when you get a new buyer, can I come in there and write the loans for you? Right? You're actually offering something way more of service, but you get something in return. And one thing that I really like about the local authority builder is something I talk about in marketing a lot, is it gives you the ability to leverage what I call OPP OPA, other people's audiences, right? So if you might have a dry cleaner or you might have a car wash, which is the video that you did down the road, and they might have 400 or 500 local people that follow them on Instagram. Well, if you go out there and you create a video for them and you create some marketing material, which is something that they know they need to do that they're not doing, and you share that with them, and then you get a joint tag and all that kind of stuff. Now you're getting in front of, and it could be 300, it could be 400, it might be a tiny little micro community. But again, that's what local is. Local is simply micro communities and micro audiences that you can leverage in order to build your brand as the trusted provider who's also promoting something that they like, right? Like if I go to that car wash and I see that you were the loan officer that went and interviewed them and just asked them some questions and gave me a cool $10 off coupon or whatever it was for the car wash, I'm going to remember you the next time that I go and do a transaction. And that's the most important piece. And that's exactly what the local authority builder teaches you how to do.
Yeah. And in building all of these plays, there's been one consistent theme. And as I think about it, this has been a theme since I can go back 25 years. This has been a problem. I did a post on social media that said that this has been a problem since Mary and Joseph wandered around looking for the manger. In that anytime, right? That's funny, but I think it probably has been a problem since the beginning of time. We in the mortgage industry are very good at dealing with clients that are ready to buy right now. If I call any mortgage person in the world and say, hey, I've got a purchase agreement in my hand, they're on me like you would not believe. The service is through the roof. However, if I tell them I'm thinking about moving next spring, my kid graduates from high school, and after their graduation, I'm thinking about moving. They graduate in 2025. I just want to get my ducks in a row. We have no program for them. It's why direct to consumer is terrible at doing purchases. And we miss it. Even if you've got a CRM, like most of the time they miss it. So a lead magnet, can do one thing and it drives people there. But what do you do on the back end once you get there? So we showed people how to go out and attract clients. We've got this likes to leads playbook that shows you how to actually drive them to your place, whatever that place is, wherever you're driving them. And then last, to kind of make the whole circle, what do you do with them on the back end once they're there? And how do I add value to the client? How do I add value to the realtor or the partner that's referring them to me? And ultimately, if I can add value to all those people, I've got a pretty good product on the back end. And I think that that is a place where people have a really tough time stringing all three of those together. And I think that that's what we've built here with what we're doing with the FinToolbox. We've put together all three of those parts through a lot of trial and error. And I don't know that it's perfect today, right? Like I guarantee that it will look a lot different in 3 weeks than it does today as we modify and tweak. But I'm pretty excited about where we're at. We've been kind of babbling a little bit. I love to babble. I do it all the time. So do we want to just kind of walk through what we've got for people? Is there any kind of other things that you think we should?
Let me give a little bit of the origin story as to how this was kind of created and how it came to play. We do have a couple people on the call today from FinLocker, which is actually kind of what this is. But about 3 or 4 months ago, I was building what I call the likes to leads playbook, or the likes to leads challenge. I don't know if you've seen any challenges online or seen any Facebook ads to get like a 7-day challenge or a 30-day fitness challenge or whatever kind of challenge it was. But I had this idea that I was going to build out this 7-day likes to leads challenge for loan officers. And really the entire purpose of the challenge was to show loan officers how in 7 days they could go from just getting likes on Facebook to actually creating a lead magnet of their own and being able to launch it to their audience to show them how to do landing pages and how to do email follow-up sequences and how to actually build the PDFs and build the value in advanced tools and all those things. And through that process, John and I started brainstorming what some lead magnets could be. So just to define what a lead magnet is simply something, any type of tool or resource that will educate your consumers, and it's very simple and easy and fast for them to get. Think of your an author that you really like. The majority of their books are simply lead magnets because it's a very low dollar price to get a book, but it gives a ton of value in advance. Anytime you've been to a website where a pop-up comes up and they say, download my 15-step checklist or download my 20-step first-time homebuyer checklist or come to my first-time homebuyer webinar. All of these types of things are different types of lead magnets. And we were brainstorming through this play what some of those lead magnets could be and who your target customer could be as well. Through that process, I remember having a conversation with John and I was like, hey, I bought a domain back in like 2017 or 2018 called Buy a Home U. And one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing here is even if I were to take somebody through this challenge, still through that process, there's a lot of work that they have to do. They have to know or figure out how to build a landing page. They have to know or figure out how to design an ebook or a PDF. They have to write the content. They have to decide on their customer avatar. They have to decide on the program that it was. And it kind of dawned on us. I was like, John, what if we just built some lead magnets for them that they could plug and play into their businesses right away? And that's where Buy a Home U was born, and that's where FinToolbox was born. And they're kind of coming together as a package for us to give loan officers a lead magnet that brings all of these tools together into one thing. So maybe and I think that's a good transition, but that's how all this was born. It was born out of necessity and born out of the fact that no matter how much in my marketing career I've shown people how to do things, sometimes, or not always, but a lot of the times, you can know exactly what you have to do and you can know and be given a guide on exactly how to do it and still not do it because it always ends up number 7 or number 8 on your to-do list. We want to try and move that number 7 or 8 from your to-do list up to number 1 or number 2 and give it to you so you don't actually have to do anything in order to have something to start to promote. And so that's actually what we're talking about today, how to launch a lead magnet in 3 days or less. It's probably gonna, at this point, it's probably gonna take a little bit more than 3 days. But at the end of the day, or when, depending on when you're listening to or watching this, that's the aim, is to be able to give you guys some amazing lead magnets that you can launch really fast. So that was the origin story, if you will. But the one thing that we know to be true, John, is no matter what, to succeed in today's market, you have to have something to generate leads that are not ready to transact today. And that's where we've talked about this a few times. And maybe before we dive into what this actually is, we can review this idea called the larger market formula. You want to just give us a rundown on what that is
Yeah,
and how this all kind of ties it all together?
100%. So the larger market formula, and I may get the percentages wrong, but it's pretty close. If you think of a triangle at any given time in a marketplace, and they've looked across, a multitude of different markets, there's roughly 3% of the people inside of that marketplace are ready to transact right now. They're an active, live, hot buyer. You've got another 17% that are, like, I would call them warm. They're like kind of ready to do something, but they're not like eager to like sign right now today. Then you've got the bottom, which is 60% of the people. They're unaware that they even have a problem. And then whatever's left in the middle, is it 30, I think?
It was 20.
20% of people, they're aware of their problem, but they don't necessarily, like, it's not eager. They're not out shopping. And I like to use this example because I think that people understand this. If you go to an apartment complex that has 100 rooms, right? There's 100 apartments in this apartment complex. It's like a move up. Like, people's next step out of there is either they buy a house or they re-sign a lease there. It's a pretty, it's a nice place. It's not like your college thing where it's, $300 a month and there's 9 kids living in one room. So if you look at those 100 people inside of that location, at any given time, the greater market formula would say that 3 of those people are ready to buy right then and there. And what I like to say is that's the person that's 30 to 60 days out of their needing to re-sign their lease. Either they need to go out and find a house today or re-sign the lease. Like, they've got a short window. If it's 15 days out, they better have re-signed the lease because they're not going to close and find a house. So a very small population, yet the way that the mortgage world likes to work, if I'm going to mail to that place, guess what I'm mailing? Apply to get pre-qualified today. Great low rates. Lock in today. Right. And like, of the 100 people, 3 of them are like, oh yeah, like, let me look at this. The other 97 are like, just junk, and they throw it away. So we go about our marketing incorrectly in that we're always targeting the person that's ready to buy right now. What if I take that and flip it upside down and I start doing my marketing to things with thinking about buying a home at some point in the future? Take a look at what your credit looks like. Do you need to work on your credit? Right. And I start marketing to them all the way back up the funnel. There's also some studies that have been done from like NAR and stuff that like 70% of people today believe they still need 20% down. So that bottom percentage, they don't even know that they could ever buy a house. Hey, I don't have 20% down. I'll just be a renter forever. So you flip it around, you start marketing to that top, and then have a really good and sound mechanism to do something with them once they come into your world to nurture them along. And I believe we've built some tools where you could have somebody, a great lead today, to me, isn't somebody that transacts in the next 30 days. It's a lead that will do business with me over my career, because I'm not in sales for the next 30 days, right? Like sales, I know your commissions may happen at the end of the month, but if you're in sales for your lifetime. So don't look at things transactionally month over month. Look at, like, if I get somebody today, I put them in my system and there's a really good likely chance that they buy a house in the next 3 years. Hey, awesome. That's a win. You just converted a lead, right? I don't know when it's going to convert, but it will convert. And I believe the tools that we've put in place will help you be able to convert those leads. And also, if I'm a real estate agent, when we show you kind of everything that we've had here, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm listening to this and the person I'm working with doesn't have a mechanism like this on the back end to nurture the clients I refer them, I'm going to have a little FOMO. I might be looking for a partner that does have it. So just understand, if you don't, in your business, you don't have these tools, like them or don't like them, want to be on social media or not, don't like what Rocket does with Rocket Money and all their things. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares if you like it or not. The world, the market doesn't care. you're just going to get eaten up and spit out. And there's a quote that this guy, Scott Muska, that was on said, and he was quoting Dan Gilbert. And Dan Gilbert, according to him, right, this is like a third person quote, but at any given time, if the world outside of your business is moving faster than your business is on the inside, your business is dying and you just don't know it. So if you're a mortgage banker right now and you're trying to operate via a fax and a pager, you're out of business. You just don't know it. And if you're trying to operate, in any other way, this is the future. And either you're going to embrace it and be one of the ones that move and become better than average, or you're going to flounder and you're going to get by and you probably will do okay. And you can lurk in that land of mediocrity, but there is a wave of the future. It's happening. You see it all the time. So we're just asking you to embrace it. So that's my little shtick there. And what the greater market formula is that there is a tremendous amount of opportunity out there today. They may not all transact today, but you can bring people into your ecosystem that will buy from you in the next, call it, 12 to 24 months. We had Brian View from FinLocker on the show last week, and he calls an early journey client somebody that's in like that 6 to 18 month mark is kind of the ideal place. And I actually might push it out that, anybody that's thinking about doing something in the next 2 to 5 years is what I would call early journey. Because what I've found is as soon as I empower you, and as soon as you can actually buy it, once you can afford it and you can buy it and you've got your 4 stars, and we'll tell you what 4 stars mean in a little bit. But once you've got your 4 stars, believe it or not, like people move extremely fast. Like 2 years becomes like 3 months. All right. Talk to a 27-year-old that says they're never getting married. Let them meet the right person that checks all their boxes. They're engaged in like 6 months and they got, they're planning weddings really quickly. So being ready has a lot more to do with your situation and your lot in life right now than anything else. So we want to just kind of walk through what we've put together, how it works, and kind of what we're looking for. Because we've put something together. We're looking for a beta group that we want to test this with, that we want to run through. We want to pour a lot of time, money, and resources into your success. All right. It's going to be a little bit lumpy and there's probably some bumps and some things that we'll mess up on. But that's life and we're okay with it. But we're looking for a small group of people to go ahead and test pilot this out. And we've really got 3 components. We're calling it our FinToolbox, and it has 3 different components. We can touch on each of those. And at the end of the day, you come in there, you get these. I think that you will be in the top 10% of all the loan officers out there as far as the tools that you have to offer to people, in my belief. And I've looked at lots across multiple companies. There's all fintech companies out there that have raised millions of dollars that don't give their loan officers anywhere near this level of support. So you want to walk through, or you want me to just do it? You got any questions there, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, where I would start is your number one competition, or at least a huge part of your competition in this market, is going to be a lot of the big guys. We know that already. We all watched Rocket Mortgage buy, what was it called before? I used to use the actual app, and then it became Rocket Money. It doesn't matter what it was called before, but they ended up buying this app because what they wanted people to do, or what they wanted, was the data. They wanted the people that were in there that were tracking their credit score, that were tracking their things. So one of the things, and we have a couple of the guys from a company called FinLocker on this call right now. But that's, so yeah, you could just dive into what FinLocker and what the FinToolbox is.
Yeah, so we've actually got a couple of guys from FinLocker here. I'll try and do it. And what Rocket bought was a thing called Truebill. And yep. I'm going to do my rendition of what FinLocker is. And we've got Chris that is heads up all customer success and a bunch of stuff. I've had a lot of calls with him. Just great dudes over there. Congratulations to you guys. Also, you just closed on a B round of funding.
Yeah, thank you.
Which, right, in a market where everybody tells me that you can't raise money, nobody will raise money, nobody will give money to the mortgage industry, you guys buck the system. But I think that right, it goes to, if you have a good product, people will give you money. They're no longer throwing money at the point of sale. That's right, just a thing that's an idea. So congrats to you guys. Do you want to, like, actually, Chris, we got you here. Do you want to just give like a quick, like, just explanation of what FinLocker is? We had Brian on here last week. It talked about it more holistically, and just kind of like if you had to give a 1-minute commercial on what FinLocker is, you'll probably do a significantly better job than me.
Absolutely. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're a lead nurturing app. So if for those people that are not ready to transact now, we're a great tool to give to them, whether that's a first-time home buyer or somebody who already owns a home. Because when you talk about Rocket Money, which used to be Truebill, there's Mint, Mint went away, but Credit Karma, NerdWallet, all those things. We're talking hundreds of million consumers using these apps that are out there. We wrap up a lot of that feature functionality under our client's brand and give it to the consumer, and it's free to the consumer. And one of the big differences is all those commercial apps I just talked about, they're out selling data. So they're out selling data and soliciting to the consumer. This app, the FinToolbox, is not that. The consumers are going in, they're protected, they're assigned directly to the loan officer, and it's all about nurturing them wherever they're at on their home ownership journey. So there's tools in there that help them, like, check their credit monitoring, simulating their credit, getting a whole financial picture, spending analysis, budgeting tools. And then one of the big anchors of our product is around mortgage readiness. So we have a readiness assessment in there. John mentioned it a little bit earlier about 4-star systems. So we kind of gamify that for the consumer to let them run scenarios, figure out where they're at. And at any point in time, they can always raise their hand to the loan officer connected to them, loan officer and or the agent, because you can co-brand with an agent within there. They can raise their hand at any point in time. So it's that great connection of great tech to help them, self-assess and build the trust of the loan officer, but then also having that human element on the back end to answer any questions when they want to dive deeper, when they want to take the next steps. And so that's really it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I think that some things that Chris mentioned there that kind of might just fly underneath the radar. And we did do, right, we had the guys from Model Match here a few weeks back also, where they talked about big data. Every place that your client goes, if you're not using something like this, they go to realtor.com to look at a lead. That's like you're sending them out to the piranhas, right? Realtor.com is not trying to ensure that your client does business with you. Realtor.com is trying to ensure that they can steer your client. Your client is now their lead and can steal it or steer it to their lending partners, their agents, those kind of things. Zillow's the exact same way. Truebill is trying to, right now, Rocket Money is trying to send your data over there. Everybody's trying to take your data and sell it. With something like this, which makes, the FinLocker or the client's FinLocker very unique, is nobody's trying to sell them anything through it. Their data is theirs. It's just a nice, safe spot for them to go. And you can partner it up with your agent. Right? It's really cool. And I was blown away when I first kind of saw this and got a demo and started going through it. Just all the power and functionality that it has. For me as the little guy, like, this has been one of those things that just you never had access to.
When you mentioned our Series B funding, appreciate the kind words on that, but a lot of that's going right back into the product, just continuing to develop this and get more sophisticated, more value to the consumer, more value to the loan officer. The other point is, these earlier journey buyers or the people who are not ready to transact now. There's a lot of instant alerts that happen from the app when consumers are hitting milestones. So it's not like you as a loan officer having to go in and check reports and do regular follow-ups. When someone, for example, if somebody is searching for a property, you're going to get notified because that's maybe an intent that they're out there doing stuff, when they're favoriting searches, when their credit score improves. A lot of different stuff are happening. They're instant alerts to you when they're hitting certain milestones where it is relevant to have a conversation. It's not just a random check-in.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. And I think that I have this belief, and I say it, and I've been screaming it now for a while, that as the world moves forward and everybody's going to have an opportunity to create and build a portable personal brand. And I see that a lot on the loan officer side, but I see that across the board. I think that this is going to happen to car dealers, like everywhere. The name on the back of the jersey will ultimately become possibly more important than the name on the front, right? You go back 50 years ago, people worked at IBM and their identity was tied to working at IBM. Well, now it's like, I'm a computer programmer. You go to their LinkedIn and they tell you the things that they've built, not the company that they worked for when they built them. So I see what FinLocker's doing is creating a portable personal brand, like facilitating that with somebody. And you're helping somebody build and create that brand for themselves. And you guys are doing it at that level where it's not tied to that back end company, which I think is just, it's really cool that you're embracing that and leaning in and helping people build their own brands in and with your app. And I think that the market sees that, it's going to be the trend.
So I want to just speak tactically a little bit on what I know about this tool. So imagine you're a loan officer and you're reaching out to first-time home buyers and you're sending them an EDDM card or you're sending a mailer. Instead of saying that you have a great interest rate, or instead of saying that you have anything, or let's say, for example, instead of sending something, you're doing a webinar or you're going to speak to a class of college students about home ownership. Instead of giving them the typical spiel and educating each person on their own, imagine having an app that you can send them that they can download on their phones. And inside of this app, they enter in all of the, I actually did this personally inside of the app myself, and it's a great user experience. Inside of the app, I can enter in all of my income information. I can run a soft pull on my credit report so I can see exactly what my 3 bureau credit scores are. I can see exactly how much money I need to save for the different loan programs, what loan programs would be most unique to me, and get training on those things. And so I can actually start to track my journey towards homeownership inside of this app. And the beauty of it is that the loan officer is the person that owns that data. Right. That's what John was mentioning. There's nobody on the backside that's going to steal your deal or steal your customer or anything like that from you, because this is a program that FinLocker has been selling directly to, really up to this point, large mortgage companies, and they were the only people that this was available to. What we're doing inside of FinToolbox is we're bringing this exact program, instead of having to go the direction of an enterprise route to FinLocker, we're bringing this exact program to the individual LO. So the individual LO will be able to sign up for our FinToolbox and get access to the FinToolbox app. It's literally an app on the App Store. You can go search for it right now. And when you do that, you will be able to invite your potential clients and your potential partners into the app, and then you'll get notifications as they go through different milestones. And I believe it's 4 stars to 4 stars that somebody will have. So you're on this journey, and at first you might just have 1 star. Let's say your credit's good, but your income's not where it needs to be, different things like that. And the main goal is a gamified version to get to 4 stars. And when you reach 4 stars, you are ready for homeownership. You are ready for a transaction. So it will help guide somebody through that journey. I think I'm explaining this pretty well. I might not be, but
No, you nail it. Right on.
So the beauty of it is, as a loan officer, if I was a loan officer today, I would be using this as my main, quote, lead magnet. I would have a landing page probably set up. The majority of my social media posts would be driving people to download the app. I would be reaching out to existing homeowners that I have closed in the past and saying, hey, you remember how stressful it was when you were first trying to search for a home, and how many different apps you had to use and how you had to figure out your budget, and you had no idea what loan programs were available and how much money you needed for a down payment, or even how to track any of that. We created this really cool app. I'd love if you could share it with anybody that it's relevant to. And so there are so many different ways that you could use this program to your benefit to get people in that early stage, the 6 months or 12 months, or even reaching out to college students that are going through, or college students that are about to graduate, or even high school students that aren't going to go to college. You never really know. But people that are on that early journey path that think renting is the only option because they're one of the 70% that still believe you need 20% down on a home and that mortgage insurance is the devil. There's a better way, and this is the way to nurture them to be ready to become your client. And because you added so much value, they're going to be a customer of yours for life, assuming you stay in touch. One other really cool thing that I've noticed is that imagine as a loan officer, if you're now the person that is inviting real estate agents into your app and you're the one that's sending business their way. They're currently getting bombarded with phone calls from 10 to 20 loan officers every single month. Their email inbox is filled with potential partnerships and relationships and grab lunch with me. And all that it is take, 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 take. I want to take from you. I want you to send me your deals. I want you to send me your deals. Imagine if you were the only loan officer in your local market giving. That is
Yeah.
where your portable. Sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say the person as we move forward, that's first to the consumer will win. So the first to the consumer is going to win, whoever that might be. If you're on the receiving end, right? If you're where you get your client is from the agent, right? You're not first to the consumer. You're not the winner there. So the sooner you have a way to engage people, the earlier in their home buying journey that you have a good mechanism to bring them in and nurture them along, the greater your chances are that you will win. So FinLocker, we're going to go ahead. They did a demo. I think it was on the 1st, within the last 2 weeks, of all of their most recent updates, those kind of things. We'll link in the show a thing back to their demo, which I think was great. And we'll put in the show a way for you to get back there. I don't want to touch on all of the bells and whistles. If this is something though that you say like, hey, I'd like to have a tool like that. I'd like to be able to give my clients a way to look at their credit. I'd like to be able to give them a way to look at properties, search and save properties without them having to go to Zillow and be aware that they're doing it. I'd like to know whether their income works or doesn't work before I've put in a lot of time. I want to know where they are in their home journey without being overly intrusive. If that's something that would add value to your business, like just regardless of what the, right, like if that's something that would add value to your business, then I would definitely encourage you to kind of come on board with us here over this initial trial period. And the way that we're doing it, really, you have nothing to lose. So that's FinLocker. We've branded it as the FinToolbox. It's our app. And we're going to give it to individual loan officers, and then it becomes yours. And that data can move. I don't care where you work. You can have your FinLocker move around with you to different companies, wherever you are, and that business can be with you 10 years down the road. I'm sure that, right, they just raised a bunch of money. I'm sure they'll be there, and your data will be secure and with them from now, as long as you want to write and close loans. The next thing that we're doing, so that's thing number one. So just giving you the app and doing that would be, it'd be cool. But like, how do you effectively market it? How do I get out there and do the things to actually drive clients to the app, right? Like the app doesn't do that. We've created a couple of different things. And Josh had mentioned earlier about Buy a Home U. So the FinLocker app is one of the things in our FinToolbox. The next thing that we have in here, we've got a course called Buy a Home U. And what this is a, like one of those courses that you think of. I think there's 9 or 10 modules. It walks them through things like mortgage glossary. What is title insurance? Like it's all downloadable PDFs. Think kind of a little bit old school for the person that wants to print off a PDF course, download it, walk through, explanations of all of the steps. Very well built, very well thought out. And if you're in the initial, kind of pilot group, as you read through there, like we're 100% open. We are not that rigid on that. What we've put in there is being, I would definitely say it's not wrong, but there might be a better way to word something, or, you want to change the way that we talk about, going about doing your credit opt-out. Like, hey, we're 100% open to feedback to having the best tool possible for you. But Buy a Home U is something that if you join our FinToolbox, you're going to get access to the FinLocker app, as well as, or our FinToolbox app, which is the FinLocker app. You're going to get access to Buy a Home U, which I think just in and of itself, we've been able to sell this product just as a standalone product, and people are out there having success just using this as a lead magnet. And I don't know if you want to add, and Josh put a ton of time into this.
Yeah, so the it's more than just a PDF. There's video modules. It's an entire online course, and the entire purpose of building it out is I have no desire to be a loan officer, but I wanted to build these types of things because I enjoy building things. And It's what we call a white label course. And white label means it's not branded to any loan officer specifically. It's actually branded to you. So imagine going to sleep tonight and waking up tomorrow and being able to share a lead magnet that's an entire 43 module course along with a workbook that takes people through 5 different sections. Section number 1 was understanding your finances and getting your finances right. Section number 2 was understanding mortgages. Section number 3 was understanding the home buying process. Step number 4 is understanding the actual closing process. And step number 5 was moving in and beyond and what you should do at that point and how to get pre-approved and all of those things. So each one of these sections drives the leads back to you as the person that owns their data, rather than letting them go to YouTube to try and get the information to understand how to buy a home on the very, very early things. One thing that drives me crazy is that there are so many people, and if you're a loan officer, you've seen this. You'll get a phone call, somebody decides to look on Zillow, they want to buy a house, they have no idea how the process works. They have no idea how to get approved. They have no idea what you look at. They have no idea what you look for, and they want you to educate them on all of that. Imagine how much time you'd save if you could just say, hey, I have this first time home buyer course I can share with you, go through the whole thing, and you'd add value to them, and they would be really well prepared to fix their credit score or to do all of those things. So when I look at these two tools between FinToolbox, the app, and the Buy a Home U first time home buyer education course, and you slap them together, you are now adding way more value. And like literally, when I say you go to bed tonight and you wake up tomorrow, we can onboard you into this course and you would have your own first time home buyer course within a couple days. And so, in the time that we have left, I think it would make sense to, number one, if any of this is interesting to you, go to themortgagebrokerbuilder.com and we'll include a link in the show notes as well, /FinToolbox. On there, you can sign up for the pre-launch or the beta launch for the FinToolbox Sprint course, which we're probably going to start in June. We're figuring out the dates and figuring out all the times. But the entire purpose of a beta launch is to learn from you guys exactly how we can add the most value to you and get these tools into your toolbox so you can become an LO of the future. So again, that was themortgagebrokerbuilder.com /FinToolbox. There's a page on that. We will invite you to our community, and maybe we'll spend the last few minutes talking about exactly how that'll work, because what we're looking at right now is doing something like a 6-week sprint course where we'll get on a coaching and a training call with you every single week for 6 weeks as you launch these things, because it's not just about having the tools. It's also about being able to promote them effectively and being able to generate leads. Because honestly, if I give you the tool and if I give you the app and if I give you a first time homebuyer course and you don't use them and they end up in the black hole of tools that you never use, kind of like when you bought the screwdriver that you put in your garage, or you bought the thing and you put it in your garage on the shelf and never used it, then it's not useful to you. It didn't actually add any value. So the purpose of the sprint training course is to teach you not only how to implement these things in 6 weeks, but how to start generating high quality, high value leads that are ready to be nurtured to eventually perform a transaction. So again, that URL, and it'll be in the show notes below or captions or wherever you're getting these, but it's themortgagebrokerbuilder.com /FinToolbox.
You can also get there by going fintoolbox.io.
Oh, yeah, that's way better.
Yeah, so I pointed a website at it, right? Kind of crafty. And one other thing, there's a couple other things that I'll just like touch on here really quickly. There's also inside of here, as you go, let's say you do the Buy a Home U and you refer that to somebody. It's not going to be, you're not sending them to Buy a Home U. It's like Buy a Home U / your name. So that's actually branded towards you. That's looks and feels as if it's your program through Buy a Home U. In addition to that, every time a person goes there, you're actually going to get email notification. We've got a little mini CRM on the back end that's going to, right? Someone goes there and fills it out. It's not like it's a black hole. You'll actually know about it. Same on the Fin Locker app. When somebody goes and signs up, you get notification. Your leads are secure. They're yours. The company doesn't own them. They're all yours. And from that point, we're going to provide you the tools to nurture them along. And then there's other cool stuff, right? Like 30 social media posts. Like there is a ton of value that's being given inside of there for you to not just, we don't want to tell you how to do it or just show you. We actually want to work with you, right? Training is the transfer of knowledge. Coaching is actually taking that knowledge that you've learned, begin to apply it to where you can use it and it works for you. And so we want to tie all of those parts together. We want to give you the tools. We want to tell you what they are. We want to coach you along the way in order for you to be able to do and execute on these things. And remember, our goal, everything that we do here, is to make sure that you're not mediocre or average. Being average sucks, right? Like, it's not where you want to be. Nobody woke up and said, I want to be average. And these tools will help you have a long journey. Like those clients that are sitting out there, they're there for the taking. There's real estate agents right now that are working with people that can't even figure out how to sync their email, and they're screaming for these kind of things. So, there's a market that's very easy to be dominated. You just get to choose who's going to dominate it, but somebody is moving forward. So we've got, and I didn't even realize the time, but we are looking for a handful of people to go through this initial beta class where we're going to pour in, we're going to do a lot of stuff, and we can launch it really fast, but we want to make sure that this is super successful. We're in it as a group and together to win. You got anything else, Josh?
No, I think that's it. No, I think that's great. I look forward to working with any of you that watched or listened to this podcast. We want to know about it. And if you can do anything, share it with your friends or anybody that you think could be interested in this program as well. We're looking for a small group of people, which is 25, a group of 25 people to take this journey with us over the next 6 weeks. We're probably launching around the June 3rd, the week of June 3rd. For 6 weeks of weekly training, in addition to helping you launch and generate your own lead magnets and all of that. And like John said, if you don't do this, somebody else in your market is going to, and you have to be one step ahead. I think we mentioned that at the beginning of this call. If you're moving slower, I love that quote that you said. I think it was from Dan Gilbert. If your business is not growing at the pace of the market, then your business. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, if the speed of the market outside of your business is faster than it is inside of your business, you're going out of business. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And right, I mean, that's across the board. It happens all over. You can see it every place out in the world. There are people dying a slow death right now, and they're trying to fight it and resist it. You may as well just lean in and go for it. It's a couple ways to jump in. Usually it works best with both feet and going really, really fast. So we want to help you.
100%.
Again, our sole goal is to help you not be average and mediocre and do more in 2024. So we're going to get this out there. Let your friends know. I think it's going to be very, very valuable for the people that come on board, and people will have an opportunity later on, just not at the same level of support.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, John.
Hey, Chris, thanks a lot for coming on here. And we appreciate your time. I appreciate all the stuff that I've had a journey with them for months. Most of it was me dragging my feet, but very, very happy to have this product and thing out there. And just for the Apple and Google lovers, Apple is significantly harder to go ahead and work with and develop an app than what it is on the Google store. Just saying. I'm an Android guy, so I'm weird, but that is fact.
Well, I appreciate the time and really looking forward to the partnership. I think what you guys are doing is awesome. So we're looking forward to this journey.
Awesome. Hey, well, I appreciate you all. Have a great day. Let's all go out there and have some fun today. Go mad, go make a difference.